What's up guys, Joey here. So you can see I've got the phone audio going to try to give some better motor noise, and yeah, I just finally had the free time to do a quick walk around of the bike. And what I've done, I've had a few requests for it, and I've just been really busy, you know, kids' birthdays and real life and bad weather. Anyway, here, I hope the audio comes through alright. So the bike's been running good. I've added an oil cooler, and you can see this setup here. These are the Sec side boxes. Everything's from Shopee, by the way, Shopee or Lazada. So I've got the Sec side boxes, HVR, can't remember the exact name, HRV bracket from Shopee for the top box, and then the Sec side boxes came with their own mounting brackets that I just jimmied on with, you know, it comes with a bunch of bolts and stuff, and I basically just attached it at 2 points from the foot peg. Like, it comes with these extension brackets and everything, and you can see I've just like done it like that. And the reason is because if it's really tight, like, you can attach it at more points. You can even put points to go around the back of the bike, which I haven't done. And that's because the more rigid you have it, when it's plastic, because it's not like the strongest plastic in the world, when it's plastic and something hits it, or not hits it, but if there's a lot of vibration, bumps and stuff, because I live up in a mountain and it's rough roads, the more rigid you make it and you don't give it room to move, like, even though movement adds noise, if you don't give it room to move, you're more likely to snap something. Like, you go over a bump or you just knock something, it's not going to have any play in it to take the shock, if that makes sense. So I figure it's just going to last longer. So that's why I did the 2 points. I didn't go around the back. I've seen them going around the back, and maybe that's fine on a bigger bike with better suspension. But you know, this is just one of the cheapest bikes you can get from Skygo. And yeah, so other than the Sec side boxes, I will go over how they don't include any vibration dampening on these side brackets. Like, none of it. There's no rubber, nothing, and it's just the noisiest setup you can get, because they've got quick release. When you go to open, you can push a button inside. I'll just show you really quick. So you can push a button inside and it releases, right? But all of this is plastic and it's loose. It releases here, and so loose plastic means lots of vibration noise, and you just hear rubber, not rubber, plastic, like clacking whenever you ride. So what I did was I literally went over all the plasticky bits where plastic touches on plastic, so the inside of the lid touching here, and I put silicone sealant, and it doesn't look pretty, but it's practical. Like, I just don't want tons of noise when I'm riding. So I put silicone sealant all around here, inside the latch mechanism. You know, it still works, but it's a bit firmer, like, to release. And I'm not going to try to remove it now because it might actually add more noise. Like, sometimes when I remove it, if a bit of the rubber comes off, I have to add more sealant to keep it, you know, to keep it from vibrating. And then I also ran sealant on the side of the boxes, which I haven't pulled the boxes off yet. This is probably going to break when I remove the boxes if I ever need to, but they stay on the bike for the most part. But I ran sealant all the way around the side, because even here there's like a tiny gap where this would vibrate too. And as you can see, like, if I, because of the silicone, if I hit it, it's not making much plastic noise at all. See, it's just shaking. That doesn't really make much noise when you're riding. Like, the motor over, like, is much louder than that. And on this side too, you can see that's like the worst you can hear, and that's probably because of this this rope that I've got touching on there. So anyway, so there's that. Other than that, I've changed the battery to a, what's it called? Gel sealed battery. That's you know, you can just find them on Shopee. I'll link the brand, and everything's gonna have links in the comments down below, so you can actually just click on this stuff instead of me having to go into too much detail. But I changed it for a sealed battery because I live in a mountain and bumps and stuff, so that's like a given. You don't want a battery that can leak liquid out, and you have to keep topping it up. So I've done that. And then you might notice this bolt here, the inside little grommet thing somehow snapped. Like, I don't know, I was pulling it off carefully every time, but just one day it snapped, because I changed to a pod filter, and that's also to do with the Nibbi Carb that I installed. So that's a Nibbi PE27 on there, and I used like a cheapo bracket I found from a cheapo adapter from Shopee, and I actually had to drill it out to get it to attach. So my best advice is, because I don't want to link this actual adapter because it's not a plug and play fit, is just measure the bolt diameter and find something that has the same bolt diameter. Or you have to jimmy it on like me, and like, you know, yeah, I can try to give the measurements if someone asks, but it's a hack job. And then I put on a Spirit Beast filter, and it's a bit ugly because I put silicone here because of thieves. I'm worried about like someone stealing gasoline, because I do try to keep the tank more than halfway full because we don't have a fuel gauge. And I'm worried about someone like trying to take stuff, and when there's silicone all around it, if it's been broken, you can easily tell, like, you know, with these clamps. The next best thing is you get a petcock with a key, but that's a lot of hassle to install. So that's just what I've done. The tubing's fine, like the fuel feed is fine. I put on this cooler, this oil cooler. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 bits long, or 8 rows thick. And it's around 2,400 pesos from Shopee, and then I just self-installed it. It bolts onto the bottom. There's a little, like, there's an oil filter that goes here underneath the motor. I can't crawl under there right now, but basically you just remove that, and this takes its place, and the oil filter gets relocated to here. Like, it comes with all the accessories. So it's pretty self-explanatory to install. And what else can I go over? Nothing else, just the tires. They're tubeless tires. The brand is even written on them? The brand's not even written on them. They're good tubeless tires though. They're only like 1.7 or less each. And what's the size here? 2.5, 100 over 90, 18. I recommend 100 over 80. Oh no, 90 over 90 for a better fit, because no, 100 over 80 or 90 over 80, because they're a bit too wide here and they hit the stock fender. It's kind of like worn itself down now, and I bent it a little bit so it doesn't rub. But if you just want like a plug and play fit without any noises, I'd go for slightly narrower tires. So I think that would be 100 over 80, I think, if that's the width. Whichever one's slightly less width, 90 over 80, 90 over 90, 100 over, yeah. Anyway, 90 would be good. 90, 18, and then on the back I just got the same size for the back tire, but of that brand. I have the brand here somewhere. Am I just blind? The brand is Dura. I should know that. So Dura, and what else? I mean, it's kind of all basic mods, like for me, so it's kind of like hard to remember each specific thing. Apart from the carb, I put the bottle pipe from Shopee, and I painted it black using high temp paint. And as long as you make sure you clean it with alcohol and like prep it before you paint it, and that way the paint won't flake off, it'll be good. So I painted this a few months back now, a couple months, and I don't think there's any chips in it. It's just a bit dirty. And I got like a 200 peso heat shield because I did burn my leg on it at one point. And wait, I got two heat shields, sorry. One was 150 pesos, and that's these here, and they just attach with metal hose clamps, and that's just for some protection. Like, this won't burn you. It gets hot, but it won't give you an automatic scald if you accidentally put your leg on it back. So I highly recommend this one. This one's just more for ornamental. I haven't really brushed my leg on this part. It's this part that's bad. And yeah, here's another shot of the Nibbi. The main benefit of this carb is easy adjustment, side adjustment for the mixture, and it just works. Like, I don't have any issues with the choke. The choke is automatic. So the type of choke this is it's a plunger. You pull it up to enable the choke, and as soon as you take your hand away, it goes back down. So that's like the benefit, because chokes are not meant to be left open, and it stops you accidentally leaving it open. So that's the good part, and it starts up basically every time, even after leaving it sitting for 2-3 days. Like, that was an issue with the original carb, is you'd have to turn the choke on and it would die, and you'd, you know, stuff around a little bit, have to start it up a few times just to get it running. And what else? Tankbag. I can't remember the exact store. Tanking Bulata or something. So the Tankbag was around 1,300. You have to pre-order it, and these are pretty standard, just generic side tank covers, which they kept coming off from the original adhesive. So again, I used silicone, and it kind of like, from far away it looks fine, but if you look close, it's just a bit messy. But I did that because I'm kind of more practical over looks. Even though it looks decent from far away, I don't care if it doesn't up close. I just want it to be more practical. So not having these come off and come loose is more important to me. So they've been holding well. And this is just a random lanyard that I used for a little boombox. Have a little bit of sound on riding. Bar end mirrors. These are just the standard ones, and I put them up because my arms are long, and I've seen a lot of people running them low. The style looks good when they're under the handles, but your elbows, if you've got longer arms, your elbows will get in the way. So I put them up so I can actually use them. If you were wondering about that, if you haven't had bar end mirrors before, that can be an issue with longer arms, or depending on your arm position, it'll actually block you trying to see behind you when you do your mirror checks. So it's kind of, yeah. And what else? Just checking if I've got anything else that's really notable. Well, that's about it, really. You know, these things are all standard. They're just like netting. Oh, one more thing down here. If you get the chain clacking like you're riding, and you've adjusted your free play because you do live in a bukid and you don't want to have it too tight, there's like a fine balance where if you have it just right, it won't really hit the center stand. But half the time, if it's a little bit on the loose side, it will, and it'll keep clacking. So I bought a rubber damper, which is actually an exhaust. Originally the whole thing's like an oval. Cut it in half, and it had a hole in the middle. And I just used a hose clamp and put it onto the back of the center stand. And so it's just like a rubber. It turned the center stand into a chain tensioner, basically. Because if you think about a chain tensioner, it goes up at the rear sprocket. It's got a spring on it, and it holds the chain from bouncing. You know, it keeps it against the sprocket. Why not use the center stand? This is just like in the middle instead of at the back, and that works perfectly fine. So you can see it's got like a bit of wear. Just a sec. You can see it's got a bit of wear there from being, you know, rubbed on. But other than that, it's been solid. So yeah. What else to show you? That's it. We're going to do the startup procedure, and yeah, I'll just do it all live in one take, so you guys can see. Sorry if it's a bit haphazard, but I'm actually meant to be doing a grocery run and doing some. I've got errands to run today, and that's why I never have time for anything. But anyway, do the warm up, and because it's been sitting for 2 days and it's been raining, it'll probably take at least 5 minutes. Not 5, but maybe 2 or 3 minutes. While on a hot day in the middle of the day, it'll only take 1 or 2 minutes. Alrighty. So just make sure it's still recording. Yeah, it is. So I'm not forgetting anything. Alrighty. So this is the startup procedure when cold. Is pull in the choke here, which I hold with my hand. So I'm holding that up, and then press the starter with a tiny bit of throttle. I'll put my hand on the, get the camera here. So I push the starter with a tiny bit of throttle with the choke up, and as soon as I can hear it, you know, idling, let go of the choke basically straight away. So from full choke to no choke. Alright. Oh. My bad. No wait, I stuffed it up. I didn't turn on the fuel. I had the petcock on off. Okay, wait a few seconds. Sorry about the dogs too. This is kind of hard to. There's a guy in the neighbor's house. Just let the choke feed. Sorry. Come on, don't tell me someone's turned my. Sorry about that. It has been a few days and it's been raining. Normally I turn on the petcock and wait, like I turn it on before I even push it out to the front. So yeah, so normally I turn on the petcock, push the bike out to the front. By that time the float has filled if anything's come out of it, and it starts up first go. But as you can see, it is idling. I just had to start it a couple times because I wasn't holding enough throttle. like I said, you got to hold the throttle open a little bit and give it a bit of rev, and then it'll idle straight away. But if I try to accelerate too soon, then it'll cut out when it's cold, because it has to warm up a bit. So a tiny bit is okay, but if I try to just go up this driveway, it'll cut out if I don't give it time to warm up. So you can hear it's going to cut out if I go past about just a tiny bit. There's a Nibbi pod filter in there, and that gives a little bit of a air noise when I accelerate. Oh, and I changed to a Spitfire lead with the Nibbi, what's it called? Nibbi thingy. I forget the name of it. I'll link it down below. And original pod plug. One more thing is, when you first start it off, if you put it into first and the bike cuts out, it means you haven't warmed it up enough, or you haven't loosened. The clutch tends to stick on these bikes. I don't know why. Maybe just because it's a cheap, China copy or whatever. It's a cheap copy of the CG motors. But basically what you do is you pull the clutch in, accelerate a bit to unstick it, okay? Yeah, it's not ready. And then when you go into first, then let go of it, okay? And then when I pull it in now and go into first, it won't cut out and it won't even jerk. Like, the jerking thing's annoying too. You can see that was fine. Alright. Still a bit wet. It's early in the morning, so there's like mildew on the driveway. Back wheel was sliding. Alrighty, so we're gonna give it a test ride, and you can just hear the motor, and hopefully the audio's coming through. I don't know if you can even hear the aim. Like, I got the phone in my pocket, and if I use the external, too much wind noise, and the quality's really low on this cam, on this action cam. The audio quality sucks through the external, so it's only through the phone I can get something decent. Alrighty. A little bit of sound. You can also hear if there's vibration noise,
from the side boxes and stuff. Like my phone's just in my pocket, so whatever you can hear is just what the mix picking up. But if there was like a bad vibration noise, you'd hear it for sure. Way up in the mountain. It's like a 15-minute hillclimb, and that's why I had to put the oil cooler on. It literally, the bike was overheating. I don't recommend high rev or hillclimbs just like stock. It'll overheat. It definitely overheats. And as for handle vibration, well, I'm too used to riding in the mountain. It's too bumpy to really tell you, but on the highways it feels fine, comparable to my old XR150. So I haven't noticed any weird, after fixing everything, like it had a tight chain, overpressured tires, all these little things that put together add a lot of handle vibration to a brand new bike. And after fixing all that, running decent tire pressure, I don't get bad vibration. It's only high RPMs that will cause vibration from literally just riding the bike too hard, like which will happen on any bike once you get to the high RPM range. And I don't know, I guess through the handle on a more expensive bike you won't feel it as much, but for me it's a non-issue. Like I know that if I change the sprocket to a highway sprocket it would be perfectly fine. From when I rode it brand new, I could tell. picked up some food for you, so I'll bring it down there because it's hard to carry. I get you some rice. Sorry, it's hard to fit the back ride with the side boxes. Okay. Morning. The road's bumpy. Wait, shit, don't pee on it. Which one was your house again? That one? Where was your place again?
There.
I haven't been there for so long. Okay.
Here, you go there?
Yeah. I'll just drop this here, there, at the door.
It's there.
Making sure there's no leaks. No, because I had an issue with the float. It's a thing on carbureted bikes when you go to altitude. They can get stuck, especially with all the bumps. They get stuck and they leak after you like turn off the bike. So I always like check it up there before I. Oops, this ground's still wet. go. And that's it. It's functional, you know. I think it would handle it a lot better as a highway bike though. Like, it's not really made for booking. Even with the gearing, it gets hot. The motors tend to run a bit hot because being a copy, the clearances aren't so good. Like, I have noticed that that's why they've set the, what's it called? Like, it's for economy or whatever. Pollution. But the reason they've set this here is so the blow-by of the valves or the piston gets recirculated through the engine. Like, it goes, you won't see it basically. So if it's burning oil or gasoline, getting past the piston rings, you won't really notice it unless you know where to check. Like, check the dipstick, make sure it doesn't smell like gas. But I've noticed that it has that issue, like when being ridden hard. So I think I need to upgrade, and I need fuel injection for the mountain. So I'm not sure, like, I might try to modify this and see what I can do, but I don't know, you know, the engine mount, I'll see what can fit on it, and if not, I'll have to just get a bigger bike. Anyway, catch you later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. What's up, guys? Sorry, I forgot to add. I wanted to share how much stuff I was actually able to carry. This is not a full load. I can obviously fit more here. I can fit, like, you know, 12 pack of tissues, whatever. But this can carry about 4 trays of eggs, and I've successfully brought 4 trays up into the mountain. I'm going all over the bumps and stuff, and nothing breaks. Even the bigger bumps, like, it just turns out fine. It perfectly fits trays of eggs. So I've got 2 trays left after sharing some, and then I'll just show you, like, it's pretty basic, but this is just a bag of some goods, just coffee powder and soap and stuff. But you can fit like a fair amount of groceries in there. You can see how deep it is, and I'll show you the other side, which you might actually get a better idea, because it is hard to get an idea. You just see these videos online, unless someone's actually doing groceries, buying stuff that you can see. It's hard to tell. So this is how much can fit in one of the side boxes. That one's almost full, but there's still room at the back. I've only just put some cleaning brushes in there that we needed. But I'll just show you what's in here. So this is like maybe 4 or 5 kilos of vegetables. If I can get it out without tearing the bag. And that's the size of it. So here's my hand, and I'll just quickly go through a little bit, just because it's hard to tell. So I'm gonna break this. Okay, so there's like 4 cucumbers, a bunch of tomatoes, 2 packs of sea salt, a few hundred grams of okra, 8 carrots, 4 giant potatoes at the bottom. But you can just see the size. Like, if I show you one of these carrots, it's pretty decent size, you know. So there's like six carrots, sorry, and it's all in there. And, you know, 4 cucumbers are decent size. So it just gives you a little bit of an idea of how much I was able to fit. You know, there's even bell peppers, and yeah, there's another. The potatoes are like decent size, big. They're down here at the bottom, so hopefully you can see those. They're like this, and that's like a decent size bag, and you can fit at least. If you really have to, like I've done it before, you can fit, you know, you can fully load that, and then you got your little hangers here that are like 100 and something pesos, 150, however they were, the Spirit Beast ones, and these are metal, or aluminum, I don't know, they feel strong, and you know, you can load those up with another 2 bags, although I would be careful with the bigger bags, because if they hang and happen to touch the motor, they can actually literally melt. I haven't had that happen on this bike. I had it happen on my old XR150, the Honda. So yeah, you like this kind of bag, like 5 kilos or so. We'll just give you a little test. I wouldn't recommend a really heavy bag though, just because if the bag itself breaks, unless it's a strong bag, but just to give you an idea, that hanging there, you can have 1 on each side as well. And I've done that. Like, I've come up by myself fully loaded and had like almost 2 weeks worth of groceries on this little bike. So just to give you that idea, you know. I'll just hang this over here so you can see how it hangs. And you can still, you know, still maneuverable enough. But you have to, you know, you go a bit slower, be a bit more careful when you're overloading, because that is overloaded. When even these are only rated for, like, I think 3 or 4 kilos each, if that. And then this is only rated for about 5, and I put like 10 in here. But I don't recommend that. It's just, if you be safe, just be aware that there is a possibility that something could snap off. I think it's all fairly strong for me. I don't think anything's going to snap off, but there's that possibility that accidents could happen if you're not careful, especially if you speed. So don't speed. Alrighty. Thanks for watching, guys, and subscribe if you want more.